there's plenty of opportunities, and we're working on optimizing the mine plan to make the most money for shareholders in what is a wonderful record gold price environment.
Do you ever wonder what lies beneath the surface? Not your couch cushions. I'm talking about Earth's untapped treasures. Welcome to EarthLabs Expeditions, where I dig deep into the world of junior mining exploration. Grab your hard hats, folks, because this isn't your average treasure hunt. I'm Jonathan Brazo, a mechanical engineer, firefighter, avid world traveler, and a rookie junior mining investor. And full disclosure, I know next to nothing about mining, but that's the fun part. Join me as I travel the world learning the ropes of the exploration and mining industries. Together, we'll decode the secrets of the earth and reveal the potential fortunes hidden beneath our feet. So, if you're ready for a wild ride through the highs and lows of junior mining, buckle up. This is EarthLabs Expeditions. With our mission set, we depart from our hometown of Toronto, Ontario, on a short journey back to Nevada. This time, we're looking for gold.
All right, we just touched down in Reno, Nevada. We're not gonna be here for long because we got an awesome adventure coming up for you guys. We're gonna meet up with my good friend, Callie Malcolm. He's gonna take us on a tour of the backcountry in Nevada. We're gonna learn all about the history of gold mining here. Stay tuned, let's go. Good to be back in Nevada. We're gonna not get the rental car stuck this time though. We'll stick to the pavement. Found a nugget already and we haven't even started.
So maybe we didn't strike gold just yet. Time to hit the road and let the journey begin. We're headed for Bodie, California. But first, a quick stop to check one off the old bucket list, Lake Tahoe. This magical place sits on the border of California and Nevada, wrapped in alpine peaks and water so clear it looks like glass. Every year, millions of people come here to hike, paddle, or just stand back and take it all in. It's one of those places that reminds you why we chase adventure in the first place. Not just for what we find, but for where the road takes us. Now the real journey begins. We're finally off for Bodie, California.
All right, we made it down to Bodie and this place is absolutely amazing. Bodie was established in 1876 at the height of the gold rush. Over the years until the 1940s when operations ceased, over 1 million ounces of gold were extracted from the surrounding area. Today, we're gonna meet with my good friend, Callie Malcolm, who's gonna take us on a journey across the Walker Lane trend from the past of mining here in Bodie to the future of mining at the Borealis Mine site. Kelly.
Pleasure to see you. Welcome to Bodie.
So good to see you again, man. This place is amazing.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Tons of history. Let's go check out some of that history, starting with the big stamp mill.
All right, let's do it. Who's this little guy?
This is Nugget.
Nugget, what a beauty.
Nugget, the Golden Lab, and he's my field partner and compadre.
Does he find the gold?
He doesn't have a nose on him for anything aside from bones and balls.
Kelly, this place is incredible. We've got a lot of infrastructure around us, this amazing ghost town. Tell us about it and how it relates to Borealis.
Sure, so this was one of the first major discoveries in the Walker Lane area. 10,000 people, believe it or not, lived in this little ghost town in the 1800s, where roughly 1 million ounces of gold were produced and processed back then, which was a huge amount of gold for that time. There was about 30 different shafts that came out of the ground. You can see all the different waste dumps behind us. And it relates to Borealis because this is part of the Bodie, Aurora, Borealis trend, where you had 1 million ounces of gold coming out of the ground from Bodie, roughly 2 million ounces from Aurora, and 600,000 ounces out of Borealis, with another roughly 2 million ounces of historical resources in the ground there.
So quite a rich trend.
Very rich trend and a little oblique. So the main Walker Lane trend comes down north-south roughly, whereas this is running oblique to that. So it's kind of an offshoot within the overall wide Walker Lane trend.
Okay, so we're gonna, not literally, we're gonna go run along the trend on our way to Borealis.
We're gonna have some fun on the quads and we're gonna run that whole trend, yes sir.
All right, I can't wait. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's go check it out.
Let's do it. Not good. Come buddy.
So that's Bodie, a place lost in time under the California sun. The streets are empty now, but in its heyday they were alive with the rush for gold. Well, it's time to gear up and leave the past behind. We're hitting the open road to see what the future here has in store. Next up, Aurora, Nevada.
Off we go. This is so sick.
We left Bodie in the dust, literally, and made a quick stop in Aurora, Nevada. Aurora was once a bustling boomtown. In the 1860s, more than 5,000 people lived here, including a young Mark Twain, who came to try his luck mining for gold. By the early 1900s, the mines had gone quiet, but not before producing nearly 2 million ounces of gold and 20 million ounces of silver. Today, only a sign remains to remind us of a town that once thundered with hopes and dreams. All right, time to jump back in the buggy and hit the road for our next destination, Fletcher.
All right, so this is Fletcher. What can you tell us about Fletcher?
Sure. Fletcher's a really important spot for this area of Nevada. It acted as a central hub, post office, train station. Mark Twain actually stayed here, but it was a really neat spot because it's, number one, an oasis. There's actually water in the middle of the desert, but also it connected the towns of Bodie, Aurora to Hawthorne and Borealis. So this was a central location for all the traffic coming to and fro each of those locations.
Wow, so Aurora, even more ounces than Bodie.
Aurora's double the ounces of Bodie, a little bit less than the overall endowment of Borealis, but very, very important and integral to this area. And that was the Aurora, Borealis, and Bodie trend, actually.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so this trend we've been following, this Walker Lane trend, this isn't some flash in the pan discovery. I mean, we're visiting these towns and getting the sense that this is a big deal.
150 years of mining history, still active today. Hecla owns the Aurora mine and mill site. We own, of course, the Borealis mine site. Newmont is actually operating in this valley right behind us with a company called Headwater. It's an area that is going to continue to deliver gold and silver for generations beyond.
Wow. And with 150 years of mining history, you know, gold right now is at an all-time high. So a lot of these projects pop up and become economical. Are they economical despite high gold prices, or is this just make it better?
Well, one of the things when we were at Bodie, actually, I was listening to a tour guide that was talking. When they shut that operation down, gold was $32 an ounce way back when. Everything changes with economics. Everything changes with inflation. I can tell you that every single project we're looking at is a heck of a lot better at $3,800 gold today than it was 2-3 years ago when we bought Borealis at $1,600 an ounce. So it's all coming into play and everything is looking really attractive in this market.
Amazing. So we got one more stop left to go. And I think the real piece we need to fill in here is the geology of the region. So we got Ian, right? He's going to meet us out in the field and we're going to talk rocks.
100%.
All right, let's get going. Let's go do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Before we get to Borealis, we have one more site to visit, JRCD. Ian Campbell is on his way to meet us to teach us about the Walker Lane geology. But first, we're going to stretch our legs and take in some of this beautiful landscape.
Oh man, what a view.
So this is the western half of the property. Over there is what we call the Bodie target. That's one of our high priority exploration targets. Over here we've got what we call the JRCD area. And we're going to start drilling here in the coming months.
Oh man, we finally made it onto Borealis property. We're getting close.
Woo. Well, here comes Ian coming in hot as always. So he's going to give us a bigger picture idea of what the genesis of all these deposits is, how they're formed, why they're here, and where we're going to look for more.
All right, Ian. Kelly and I have just been on a wild ride. We came from Bodie, over the range, to Aurora and Fletcher, along the Walker Lane trend. I'm dying to talk rocks with you and figure out why this is all here, what it means, what kind of mineralization we have. Can you tell me about it?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you guys came from Bodie and Aurora, because we're actually on the same northeast trend. And actually you can see behind us right here where one of those northeasters comes through. So the way that has occurred is millions of years ago was moving north relative to the North American plate, forcing the Farallon plate underneath, which caused magmatism, which caused the uplift of the Sierra Nevada mountains and also mobilized the hydrothermal fluid, the gases, the volatiles, which came up first altered with a highly acidic fluid. The rocks that you see behind us, this is pervasive silicification. So then once that happens, you're hoping, if you're lucky, then a second fluid pulse or third fluid pulse comes up and actually deposits your precious metals.
Clearly we got that second pulse here and along the trend, you know, 1 million ounces at Bodie, 2 million at Aurora. What are we looking at here at Borealis?
So what we're looking at here is roughly a 2.1 million ounce resource. Plus, we think we've got 2 prime targets for drilling. We're hoping for a new discovery, as well as we have deposits already on the property, which can potentially be expanded as well to add ounces to the resource.
Okay, so once you turn it on, you just keep exploring, keep feeding that mine.
That's the idea.
All right.
Yeah.
So the coloration of this rocks, it's very red. I'm no geologist, suggests some sort of iron or oxide to me. What type of mineralization is this, and what do these red rocks mean from your eyes?
Yeah, so you're exactly right, John. That is oxidation, which happens. So when those mineral-rich fluids come up and deposit your precious metals, you're also getting sulfur coming up, joining up with your iron, for instance, and creating these sulfides like pyrite, which when exposed to the atmosphere, atmospheric conditions, and water, oxidize, which actually frees up the gold that has been trapped in those pyrite crystals and allows for the heap leaching to occur where we can actually extract the gold.
Okay, so in simple terms, it's easier to get the gold out?
It is much easier to get gold out. We're using the heap leach process and an ADR plant, which Andreas is going to show you later. He's the on-site expert.
Okay, well, I think we're getting pretty close. We might even be able to see the mine from here. We should head on over there. I'm dying to learn about the rest of it.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Thanks, man.
All right, yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Wow, talk about a school day. Now that we've learned all about the Walker Lane, it's time to visit the mine. Let's roll. Here we are, the big show, Borealis Mine. Borealis sits in one of Nevada's richest gold belts, ground that still holds incredible promise. After more than a century of exploration, this high-tech operation is pushing the limits of modern mining with innovation and precision. But before we head out, safety comes first.
I'm Nathan Jeffrey, and I'm the Health and Safety Supervisor. I've been on this mine site with the exception of 5 years, since 2011.
Mine safety is always paramount. Here at Borealis, the team take it very seriously and have developed a rigorous safety plan. Nate walks us through our safety induction before we head out on site.
Mandatory PPE for up here for our purposes today is going to be hard hat, safety glasses, high-vis clothing, which is as critical inside where we're going to be, and safety-toed shoes.
With our safety induction complete, it's time to visit the pits.
Kelly, thank you so much for the tour. All the way from 1876 in Bodie, across the Walker Lane trend. We've got to learn about this amazing history from the gold rush days in Northeast California, all across Nevada, these amazing deposits, this incredible trend, and almost 150 years of gold mining. And here we are now, set to kick off the next gold rush at the Borealis Mine.
I love it. So right now we're in a fully permitted pit. This will be operational in the next several months, hopefully sooner than later. This is fully built All we'd have to do to start actually blasting and genuinely mining from this area is virtually clear out this small berm, drill some blast holes, stick some explosives in the ground, and kaboom. So we will be extracting gold from this hard rock, open pit, oxide, heap leach material very, very soon. And that will continue across the project on a number of these other existing pits.
Wow, it sounds like, I mean, you can't get any closer to being on the precipice of something major.
We are literally on the absolute cusp of production, and we've been waiting for this. We bought this project in 2023. Actually, when I signed the deal, gold was $1,600 an ounce. We're at a whopping $3,800.
Yeah.
The gold here has become massively more valuable, and we expect that this is going to be a very, very profitable operation for us.
I mean, we're also on the edge of the pit right here. We've got these beautiful red rocks, you know, that we've been seeing in their natural formations and now ready to be extracted in the mine.
100%. So we saw some oxidized mineralization in the field. This is oxide mineralization ready to be extracted. So everything you see behind us in red is oxide mineralization, which is the cheapest form of hard rock gold extraction. It's why you can mine low-grade material in Nevada. This is actually higher grade than the typical norm in Nevada, which is about half a gram. This is around 0.7 on average, so more profitable than most. But our focus in this pit is this red rock that we're literally going to take out, blast, take out, down to the stockpile, onto the leach pad, into the plant, and we're going to see later on a gold pour from this exact mineralization that was stockpiled by previous operators.
Wow, it's so incredible. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first gold pour.
As owners, we have poured gold before, but before what we were doing was just washing the old heap leach pads. It's called residual leaching. This, for us, it's a mark of pride because it is our exercise of crushing, stacking, putting fresh ore on the heap leach pad, treating it with cyanide, making sure all the chemistry is perfect, and we're going to see the fruits of that labor coming out today. So for us as a team, it feels like our first Borealis gold pour. And the nice thing about it is it's going to be steady state going forward into the future, both from that stockpile that we've been crushing, but also from Big Beautiful East Ridge, Borealis, Freedom Flats, Northeast Ridge, JRCD. There's plenty of opportunities for us to be extracting lots more gold off of this property.
Okay, so once we start running, we're not stopping.
We are not stopping.
Amazing. So can we go in the pit?
100%, let's roll.
Let's go.
It's time to see where the sausage is made, or in this case, gold. We're meeting up with Andreas to walk through the leaching process.
Okay, Andreas, we just came with Kelly from the pit. So we're seeing now the ore starting to come out of the ground, how we're extracting it. The next step, it's coming over here. Tell us all about it and what all this equipment and this facility is doing.
All right, so we're standing on what's called a heap leach pad. This is the next step in the gold extraction process after mining. So you went to the pit where we would blast that material, load it, bring it in trucks to our crushing area.
Yep.
Then we crush it down to a size of 1.5 inch passing. So all that material is going to be crushed down to 1.5 inches or less. That's for optimum gold extraction.
Okay.
Then we're going to bring that material over and place it on this leach pad. We got about 106,000 tons under leach right now.
Wow.
We put that on the leach pad, and then we run what's called a drip line. So this black material you see here, these tubes,
Yep.
that's drip line, and it's dripping out a controlled flow of very dilute cyanide solution. So what's going on is we're essentially washing the ore to extract the gold.
Okay. I'm connecting some dots here. Is this the magic of the oxide deposit?
Yes, so as you kind of pointed out, there's the oxides versus sulfides. Some deposits are oxide deposits or have an oxide component. Others are mainly sulfide. You can't really heap leach them. And people might be wondering why. What's the difference?
I know I am.
Okay, so a sulfide is basically its unchanged, unaltered original mineral.
Okay.
And that gold is locked in to the mineral associated with it. Usually it's pyrite.
Okay.
That's called a sulfide. And what goes on is over geological time, you can have that sulfide break down, dissolve, essentially oxidize. That's where the term oxide comes from.
Okay.
And it leaves behind the gold in a way that makes it available for the cyanide to basically wash it out and come in contact with it.
Okay. So in the hills, all these beautiful red rocks, that's nature starting the process for you.
Yep,
And you're finishing it off here.
gets us one step ahead.
Okay, amazing. Let's talk about some of the numbers for anyone that's interested. So, what's the pad permitted for? What's the turnaround time? How does that all work? And how do we get from here to the next step of the process?
So basically we have a total permitted capacity here of 10 million tons. We have about 4 million tons remaining capacity on this leach pad to place ore material.
Yep.
So what we do is we place the ore out on the pad, and from here it'll take anywhere from 90 to 120 days to complete the leach cycle and get our planned recoveries of 73 to 77% into the plant. What we see is that there's an initial pickup in grade. So the first 30 to 40 days, you get about 30% of the recovery in that initial spike. And then it starts slowing down a bit from there and gradually tails off.
Okay, but then you're basically in a process of constantly replenishing that stock on this heap, right?
Yes, that's pretty much the game. The game is you get your gold out from one panel, you should have the next panel, the next section where we're advancing should be advanced enough that I can go and lay my drip. That provides steady gold flow to the plant.
Okay.
The plant is the bank where I'm cashing in the gold.
Okay, so once it's running, you don't stop and she just keeps running.
Should never stop.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, we got to go learn about this plant too. I'm hoping you can take me over there and teach me all about that as well.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
So Jonathan, what we're walking next to right now is called our solution channel. So all our solution coming up from the plant and going back from the leach pad loaded with gold runs in this channel. And this black material is our liner. Underneath our leach pad, we continue that liner, and that prevents any solution from finding its way out and into any potential groundwater. So this is essentially an engineered structure and construction.
Fantastic.
Safe and precise operations aren't the only priority here at Borealis. Environmental safety and compliance are just as important. The team routinely samples monitoring wells, making sure the leaching solution stays safely contained and water quality stays protected. Okay, we're headed to the ADR plant to see what happens next. Let's go.
At the end of all that process we've just been through, that gold-laden solution is going to find its way back to the ADR plant over here.
This ADR plant, compared to some others that I've seen in my limited experience, is quite a small footprint. How does it all work?
So basically, a conventional mill, you're going to grind that rock down potentially to the size of essentially a rock flour before introducing cyanide to it and continuing the extraction process. We essentially do all of that cyanide extraction from the rock over at the leach pad. So we have a giant-sized mill out there, essentially. And that gold-laden solution then finds its way back to the ADR plant. ADR stands for Absorption, Desorption, Recovery. So the absorption process is the gold-laden, what we call pregnant solution, coming back and then running through our carbon columns. And the gold associates with the carbon. That's the absorption.
Okay, step one.
Yes. Then after that, we have to get the gold out of the carbon to eventually make a doré bar. So we do desorption. We take that loaded carbon, in our case about 100 to 120 ounces per ton of gold in our carbon, and put it into a pressure vessel. And then under certain pressure and temperature conditions, the gold drops out from the carbon back into solution. That's the desorption.
Okay, step two.
And then 3 is what we could call either recovery or refining. So that gold that is now in solution gets sent into what's called an electrowinning cell, and it plates and attaches onto it essentially and forms a sludge.
Okay.
And then we concentrate that sludge to eventually pour into a doré bar.
Okay, the sludge goes into the furnace. We melt it down, we pour our doré bar.
Yes.
All right. So what's the capacity of the plant?
So currently, our plant would probably be maxed out about 80,000 ounces per annum.
Yep.
That would be if we were to be optimizing all our stripping, potentially bringing in carbon from other sources, which we can do.
Yep.
Which is actually one of the interesting synergies we have with the Sandman deposit, is we could be trucking 100 to 120 ounce per ton loaded carbon to Borealis, and we're permitted to run it through our plant. So we can basically maximize our throughput through this plant. But if we were to do about $2.5 million of capital improvements, essentially sizing our vessels, that pressure vessel, to a larger capacity, we actually could probably push about 120,000 ounces through this plant for minimum capital expenditure.
Oh, wow. Tons of room to grow.
Yep, that's the goal.
Amazing. Well, I think we're going to see a gold pour later today. Am I right?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's go check that out. Thank you so much, Andreas.
No problem.
All right.
So here we are, the big moment. Let's pour some gold. From blasting rock in the pit to crushing, leaching, and refining, everything has led to this, the first official pour at Borealis. Let's dig into it. Once poured, the molten gold cools in the molds and hardens into shape. The finished doré bar is then cleaned, inspected, and stamped. For a mining operation, this is a huge milestone. Months of planning, exploration, investment, and hard work finally becomes something real. Something you can hold in your hands.
First production gold bar for the Borealis team. Right here.
And that is definitely something to celebrate.
When it sits in there.
do the shiny?
Kelly, I want to thank you again for the amazing journey. It's been so cool to go from Gold Rush 1876 to Gold Rush 2026 across Nevada in the Walker Lane. I know I learned a ton about the history of mining here and about your process. I learned a lot, and I hope our viewers did too. I guess the next question is, what comes after this?
Sure. So the major catalyst we have is announcement of grant of a permit that we're waiting for, which allows us to mine bigger pits. Like, for example, the East Ridge pit we were in, we're adding another dimension to it. So if we need to, we can go down deeper, and doing that on all the other permitted pits at the moment. And that'll trigger our decision to start blasting, hauling, increasing the throughput, increasing the ounce count. We're also looking at a ton of different assets. There are so many wonderful projects that are underloved, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that's our main goal. That's my board's mandate to me is grow, grow, grow. In this market, you want to grow as fast as possible while still making good deals and good decisions.
Awesome. It's been a ride, man. Thank you
It's been a
so
pleasure.
much.
Thanks, John.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been a really long day, and I don't think I can sum it up any better than this. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. We got more adventures coming soon.